Well, hello. Today we just watched, well, not we, I did. You weren't there with me, obviously. I always start like that. Anyway, I just watched Send Help, which literally just came out, what, like a week or two ago or something like that? Anyway, I checked it out, so I'm going to talk about it. If you're new to the channel, basically I watch a movie, I sit down in this chair, and I ramble on about it. No script, no plans, just whatever comes off the top of my mind. No jump cuts or anything, so raw and unfiltered. I just want it to be as real as possible, despite that potentially meaning flaws. Anyway, shall we begin? No, not yet, because spoiler alert, you know the drill. Going to be talking about the movie, things that happened in the movie, and all that jazz. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want it spoiled, you can either not watch the video or you can skip ahead to the timestamp where it says thoughts, which I will try to keep spoiler free. That said, let us proceed. So, this is one that I've been looking forward to for a while. When I saw the preview, I'm like, oh, cool, okay. Sam Raimi, oh shit, and Rachel McAdams, awesome. It's a good combo. And then finding out it's like a survival horror type thing. Just after watching the preview, I'm like, is this going to be like a romantic comedy? Because it's Rachel McAdams, like, whatever. No, it's a little twisted, so good, awesome. Anyway, let us begin. We start with Rachel, whose character is Linda. She's in the office. She's working her butt off, getting this report done with all these numbers and all that, statistics or whatever. She's in like the statistics and planning department. She's like the head of it or something. Anyway, she gets this report and her boss comes and grabs it and takes it into a room, and she's going to join to present it. And she's like, no, I got this. It's a small meeting, so, you know, behind closed doors. And he absolutely takes credit for it, as is expected. She sees him do that. She's kind of pissed off about that, but whatever. She says this ain't going to be long because her big boss, the president, who apparently is like thinks high of her or whatever, she has a job of VP lined up for her as soon as he retires. Son's going to take over, become the president, but he's going to, you know, follow his father's wishes, so she thinks, and promote her to VP. Hard work, dedication pays off, right? Well, no, it does not. So anyway, son takes over the next day, comes in, introduces himself. She talks to him a little bit. She's like a little awkward, like not like, well, she's off-putting a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. She's the fact that they made Rachel McAdams look kind of homely and like act kind of like she's nice and everything, but there's just something like I don't know how to put it. Just an uncomfortable person. Like there's, you know, the whole tuna sandwich thing. Countless reviews have talked about that, so I'm not even get into that. But she's just not her usual, you know, done up self, whatever. Anyway, it's neither here or there. So she has a meeting with the boss, and she ends up like getting tuna on the boss's hand or something. His name's Brad, by the way. I'm gonna have to refer to him as his name, so I may as well get that out of the way. So Brad has a meeting with one of his execs, and he's basically going over what, you know, his father had planned to do, and he mentions Linda, and he's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And the exec is even like, she kind of holds this place together. Like everything she does is to the T pretty much perfect. You can trust her with like the biggest assignments, etc. And he's like, no, I have this guy in mind who's like his college buddy. And he's like, okay, but we have that Bangkok merger coming up, and if you give it to him, he's gonna drown. We need her at least for now. And Brad's like, all right, fine. We'll bring her on the plane and take her to Bangkok, and we'll get her to basically show Buddy the ropes, and then we'll let her go. So that's the plan. That's nice. Anyway, long story short, next day, the new VP is announced, and to Linda's surprise, it's not her. And to give her credit, she basically storms the office politely, but she makes it known, like, this was supposed to be my position. This is, you know, something I've been working towards for a long time, etc. And he basically says, yes, your work is super impressive. I'm not going to say that it's not, but we need a people person. She's like, what? Someone who, you know, he basically says she's kind of gross. So, you need someone who can, like, work with clients and investors and, like, play golf and all that kind of shit. You understand, right? She's like, I guess. He's like, okay, listen, you know what I'm going to do? We got that big Bangkok merger coming up. You know about it. She's like, yeah. How about you come with us on the plane? Prove me wrong. She's like, okay. Obviously, he doesn't intend on doing anything, right? He was going to bring her anyway, but now he's making it sound like he listened to her, so whatever. It's a little bit of, yeah, anyway. cut to the next day. They get on the plane, and she's all gung-ho and ready and cheerful, and everyone's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, so the executive boys are in the front. Well, she's on the computer working on the thing they're going to be presenting to everyone, busting her ass off. She's got her little headphones in. And meanwhile, they're in the front of the airplane, and one of the execs, the new VP, I think, brings a laptop over to Brad and is like, check this out, and shows her, like, a Survivor audition tape. So she's a huge Survivor fan. She's totally into, like, bushcraft and stuff. Like, we get a little clip of her apartment. We show her having, like, books about, like, you know, bushcraft and stuff. Also, she has a little bird, so that's fun. But yeah, she doesn't really have friends or family or anything, but she's really into what she's into, you know, watching Survivor with her bird. Good, go for her. Anyway, they watch this video and she hears them laughing. She takes the earbuds out and can hear herself doing her Survivor, so she's pissed off. Anyway, she's hurt, not so, well, pissed off and hurt, I guess. Anyway, turbulence happens and the flight attendant comes out. It's a private plane, but they still have one, I guess. I don't know. She comes out and is like, hey, everyone, like, get in your seats, buckle up. So she does. And, you know, Brad's being an idiot and like, yeah, okay, guys, sit down if you're pussies. And then they're all laughing. And then another piece of turbulence hits and the guys that were standing smash on the roof and, like, fall to their faces. And so Brad quickly buckles up and, like, the door starts breaking off and, you know, the whole suction thing that they do with airplanes in movies. And one guy, like, grabs onto Linda's foot and she's, like, trying to help him up and he's like, give me your seat. And she's like, what? No, like, I'm gonna help you. And then he's like, anyway, he's trying to, like, strangle her to get her seat. So she grabs a fork and forks his arm and he goes flying out, and some other guy was holding onto his leg. He's flying out, but his stupid tie gets caught in the door, so you see him, like, flailing and getting strangled by the window. And Linda just, like, closes the whatever it is, closes the little window thing so she doesn't have to look at this guy's face. He's strangling as the plane's going on. Anyway, plane crashes, blah, 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 blah. She wakes up on the beach. Oh my god, I survived. Oh my god, it's a desert island. Woo, that's fun. And she sees Brad on the ground. He's out. So she basically takes care of him. His leg is busted up. It's not broken, but it's in rough shape. So she, like, builds a shelter and all this stuff. That bushcraft, right? Comes in handy. Like, of all the people you could be stranded with, this would be ideal, you'd think, right? Well, we'll see. Anyway, he comes to, and he's like, what the fuck happened? Anyway, she basically tells him, like, that's it. No one else survived. It's just us. I did this. Here's some water. And he's pretty much almost immediately ungrateful. Like, he's pulling the boss card, too. Like, dude, you're on a desert island. She just saved your ass. Whatever. Anyway, he's pulling that. Doesn't really matter. It ends up in him. She tries to feed him fish and everything, and, like, she cooks for him and gives him water and tends to his leg, builds him shelter. He doesn't care. So you know what? As soon as he pulls the boss card thing, she just looks at him like, are you fucked? Anyway, and then she storms off and leaves him for basically a full 24 hours. And by the time she comes back, she sees him, like, in rough shape because he's injured. He didn't know how to get any water for himself, all that stuff. Like, she built, like, water traps to get condensation with leaves and coconuts and everything. Like, anyway, it's pretty clear that he's fucked without her. So she comes back and she's like, yeah, we're not in the office right now. We're not, this dynamic isn't gonna work. So, you know, I have no issue, you know, working with you and whatnot, but you got to drop that shit anyway. So that's good. She's making, like, a spear, and he's like, well, what's that for? And she's like, I saw a boar. We're gonna eat good. So she goes out and she hunts this boar. I guess she just forgives him. I guess he learned his lesson, right? Anyway, she goes and hunts this boar, and there's this whole thing with the boar. It's a pretty good scene. Boars aren't little piggies. Like, for anyone who thinks that, oh yeah, you're just gonna kill a pig. No, they're vicious creatures. They can kill you. So she ends up taking the boar out with difficulty and comes back to the camp, coated in blood, drops the boar head, and he's just looking at her like, what the fuck? And she's like, yeah, I think I kind of like hunting. All right, anyway. Fast forward to the evening, they're sitting around the campfire and eating boar, which is, you know, pretty good. I've had boar. It's actually, it's like pork with like a gamey. I don't know. What, it doesn't matter. It's good. Let's put it that way. If you like pork, it's better. Anyway, they're eating that, and then they're like laughing together about like, look who's bringing home the bacon now. You know, the roles are switched. You were the big boss bringing home the bacon in the city, and now I'm literally bringing it. Anyway, it's a whole thing. They laugh anyway. Whatever. Yeah, the next day she finds like a waterfall, and that's fun. But then she hears a boat, and she starts to shout help, and then she's like, no, you know what? Not yet. We're not doing that yet. Yeah, they have another little spit. Like, it's taking him a while to realize that he needs her, basically. They have another little spat, and he, like, goes off to make his own shelter, and fails, like, miserably. It takes him having to eat a bug to realize, like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna swallow my pride here. So he does exactly that, and he heads over and he literally apologizes, and he's almost like to the point of like nearly groveling. She's like, oh yeah, okay. And she has literally like a sushi spread, basically. Like, she caught a fish and filleted it sushi style, and has like a nice, like, with fruits and stuff, and she has a knife, which is great. She said it washed up on the shore. You know, take the time to look and see what's on the shore, and you're gonna find something. So that's cool. Anyway, he clearly is impressed. I mean, it's better than the bug that he was eating. And there's this whole thing in the beginning of the film where she had like a piece of tuna in her teeth, and now it's switched where he has a piece of bug in his teeth. So like the roles are literally completely swapped. Anyway, he's like, yeah, I'd pay like $100 for a meal like this in a restaurant, so I'm in. She's like, okay, but like this dynamic has to change. Like, you're not my boss. Oh, I forgot to say, so before he storms off, he tells her she's fired, and she's laughing. She's like, okay, oh no. Anyway, whatever. So they're this little rekindling here is basically her saying, like, listen, that's okay, but like, that's all? That's your pitch? And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, well, how far are you willing to go to make this work? And so he like hesitates for a second, and he starts pulling off his shirt, and she's like, I'm just fucking with you, we're good. Like, I wouldn't do that anyway. So that's funny. Anyway, they have their little fish and whatnot, and they go for a walk together. There's like a cliffside path or something, and she explains to him on this hike, like, he wants to learn, like, basically this stuff. So she is teaching him slowly. She's explaining about how berries, you know, you don't eat certain color ones. I can't remember which she said. I think it's like white or orange ones or whatever. But if you're really not sure, you take a berry and you rub it on your skin, and if your skin swells up, then you know that it's poisonous and you don't eat it. So that's good to know. I don't know if that's true or not, so don't listen to this and go try that. It might be, though. I have no idea. I'd be hopeless on a desert island, by the way. If I didn't know how to fish or find crabs, like, immediately, I'd be hosed. Anyway. So that happens, and then she also explains, too, she points, says, okay, you see those rocks over there that kind of look like an X or like a cross or a T or something? And he's like, yeah. She's like, okay, so if you go that way, it's literally like a big mass of brambles and thorns. It's not good. They're poisonous too. I scratched my arm or whatever she says. I can't remember, but basically don't go that way because you're not going to have a good time. He's like, okay, fair enough. And they head back, and she slips and almost falls off this cliff, and he grabs her and pulls her on top, and they're laughing. And it's like, at this point I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, I know that it's not a romance movie, but I'm thinking, oh, are they gonna like hook up or something? No, they don't, so that's good. And then a storm rolls in or something, and they go to they're like, her shelter, she's almost giving herself shit, like, I'm an idiot for building it that close to the water anyway. So it's being demolished essentially, but she takes them to a cave and whatnot, and they're all soaked, and so they strip down and huddle together to, you know, body warmth, whatever, that works. And she's kind of like, I don't know if she's like into it or something. I forgot to mention they kind of bonded a little bit too. They had like stories about stuff, like he had a shitty childhood bringing up, you know, his mom was a shitty person, his dad was barely there, and she was married, and her husband didn't treat her right, but he died. And she says that basically there was one night where he went so bad that he did things that were even bad for him. She doesn't elaborate, so I can only imagine. And that was the night where, instead of hiding his keys when he was drunk like I usually did, I took him out of my purse and I put him on the counter. And then it's like, You can see a tiny bit of guilt in her eyes, like, oh fuck, like I'm the reason he died because anyway, whatever. So they're pretty tight for the most part, you think, right? Well, she says, they get drunk. She made Pruno too. So Pruno is like a fruit-based liquor that they make in jail, basically. It's called toilet wine. I don't know how it's made, but that doesn't sound appealing. But anyway, she made that, so that's great. And they get drunk, which is good. And that's when the whole conversation happens and all that. And she ends up saying something along the lines of like, we shouldn't leave. We should just stay here, And he's kind of like, it's sort of clicking in his head like, oh, that's not comforting. He'd even mentioned like the first day, like when they had their first little tiff about like, why haven't you put like, bamboo on the shore spelling help or whatever. And her response, which made sense, is like, I was literally building a shelter and getting food and taking care of the first thing, which is we stay alive. Like that's priority one. So, anyway, he's starting to question if that's actually true, or, she literally said like, maybe we shouldn't leave. So he's onto that path anyway. So his plan, he wants to build a raft and she dismisses it. Anyway, he's basically at the point where he understands like she doesn't want to leave, essentially, at least not yet, and he wants to leave. So he plays nice, and after a little cave cuddle session for warmth, he says, you know what, why don't I make you dinner for once, and like you don't have to be in the kitchen for one night or something. So he does. He makes her this spread that looks really good, and she's all like bubbly and happy, and I don't know, maybe she's like in love, I don't know, but anyway, she takes a bite and then she starts feeling woozy. Yeah, he absolutely used those berries to knock her the fuck out, so that's great. As soon as she's on the ground, unable to move, groaning, he runs into the bush, pulls out this little raft that he made and starts pushing it out to sea. Turns around, fuck you, Linda. Wow, okay. Anyway, he pulls it out to sea, and within like, 2 waves, the thing falls apart. So that's unfortunate. He almost drowns, but she, despite being poisoned and vomiting, is pulling him onto the beach, rescues him, vomits on him a couple of times, but saves his life. Fuck. Oh, jeez. Okay, so that happens. They, she feeds him anyway, and, she's like, things have to change. Like, literally, this is the last time I'm going to say this to you. She gives him food. There's, like, a little skewer with, like, pork and, like, little octopuses, and he eats them. And turns out they're blue-ringed octopuses. So, basically, if you don't know what that is, a blue-ringed octopus is one of the most poisonous or venomous or whatever animals in the world. It has, like, a neurotoxin which paralyzes your body, essentially. Which is why in the water they're so dangerous, because you can drown. I don't know if the toxin is actually strong enough to kill you, but it paralyzes you. So she says this is the last straw once he's like completely paralyzed and can't move, and she sharpens the knife and puts it in the fire, and she starts telling a story about how her dog used to act out, and you can see where this is going. She basically says, and then we fixed him and everything was good, and he's like, but he can't because he's paralyzed. She pulls his pants off and pulls his underwear off and holds it up and throws it away and starts going. We get a castration scene. That's fun. Blood splurts up, even some on her face, and he's like horrified. He can't like see down, but like there's blood. And then she holds up a rat. She's like, yeah, so next time it's not going to be a rat. She throws it. I guess he he learned his lesson, I suppose. Anyway, next day or later, I can't remember what it is, she's on the other side and she sees a boat, and holy fuck, it's Brad's fiance and some guide. She's like, oh my god, Linda, like, is Brad here? Like, take me to him. So she does. They go up that what is it, cliffside path or whatever, and anyway, fiance slips and the guide grabs her and is trying to pull her up, and Linda's hesitating like, fuck, I don't want to leave, and now there's someone here. Anyway, they cut to later and we see her coming with mangoes that she found. She gives them to Brad, and Brad's like, oh, cool, are you okay? And she like flumps down on the shore briefly and then is lying in bed, and he's like, I found more boar tracks, like we should go hunt or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I'm taking a sick day. So she's clearly torn up about whatever happened up there. We do find out what happened up there. Anyway. that happens. Then later in the night, I guess he's asleep and she sees a shadow on the beach further down, and oh fuck, it's the fiance crawling onto shore. She's like, why did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's a nightmare. She's not really there. There's even like a blah scene, that like a thing jumping out, so that's fun. Anyway, later it's like the next day, he's going for the boar hunt or whatever, and he's got his spear already, and he sees the boar on the beach, and it's like sniffing something, and he steps on a twig because he's not trained how to hunt or whatever like she is. The boar sees and runs off, and you see a hand sticking out of the ground, and that big old rock, that's very clearly his fiance. He goes up and sees it, and she's like, oh my god. And he confronts her about it, and they have a scuffle, and she has the knife, but no, she doesn't. He does. He already has it. He took it when she was asleep. There's a big scuffle. There's like pieces of her hair being ripped out. She like bites a chunk out of his shoulder, and he like almost gouges her eye out, but she ends up getting the knife and shanking him in the stomach and kicking him off. And there's a whole thing. She was trying to explain before he attacked her, like, listen, she fell. I couldn't get to her. Anyway, that's horse shit. Because we find out later that she did in fact encourage this death to happen. So when the guide went to grab her, she hit the guide's head with a rock, which immediately let her go, and then he fell off the cliff, and that was that. So that's fun. Anyway, he's chasing her and whatnot, and he rounds a corner and he sees like a big mansion on the island, which is where the X rocks were, or whatever they were. So he's like, what the fuck? Anyway, he goes in, and there's like a fridge and like fresh water and fruit and like all kinds of food and everything delightful, and he's super pumped, and then the lights go off. Oh shit. And then you hear Linda's voice through, like, she's watching him on the security system, and she's basically saying, listen, I found this house, you know, it was some billionaire Wall Street guy lives here, I guess. So when the staff left, I watched them lock the door again to get the code, got in here, that's where I found the knife, etc., etc. He immediately goes for the drawer, and she's like, yeah, I got rid of all the other ones, by the way, I'm not an idiot. She ends up rounding the corner, and she's got a shotgun aimed right at him, so he's like, oh fuck. So he starts doing whatever he can to convince her not to shoot him, basically. Saying things like, you know, like, okay, like, I thought about it, like, we can maybe make this work, blah, 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 blah. He's saying, like, we don't necessarily have to leave, we have everything here, and it's kind of getting her. She's like, see, I told you, that's what I've been saying this whole time. Like, we even have a mansion now. Like, she didn't say that, but, like, come on, like, we're good. Anyway. He is rambling, and he even, like, says that he loves her, and she says it back, and then she realizes, she looks, and, like, one of the billionaires' mounted Viking helmets is missing a horn, and he lunges at her with this horn and knocks the gun away and grabs the gun and aims it at her, and she's like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And he says his spiel, and he pulls the trigger, and it goes click, click. Oh, that's not good. So, yeah, it doesn't work out too well for him. Her last comment is strategy and planning, reminding him of the department that she works for, and she basically beats him down with a golf club. And just as she's about to swing this club right at his head, we cut to her on a green, or a tee off or whatever, hitting an actual golf ball with an actual golf club, and she's all dolled up, fancy, and like not homely at all like she was in the initial part of the film. And there's an interviewer there saying, wow, like, I can't believe it was only so long ago, a year or something, since they found you on that raft in the middle of the sea all alone. Plane crash, everyone else died. It's so crazy that you survived, and there's a book deal, and I think they said there's a movie deal coming out, and she's super rich now and happy, and she drives off in her car, and her little bird's there with her, because I was wondering the whole time too, like, you're stranded, like, what about your bird? If you have no friends, like, is it gonna be okay? Well, the bird's fine, and she drives off, and she's happy, and that's the end of it. So yeah. That's the film. What did I think? I enjoyed it thoroughly, actually. Most of the reviews are kind of gushing about it, and I can't not do the same. I'm obviously not the first or best or last review you're going to see of this, so, I mean, there's not much more that I can say that other people have said. What I will say is, The music was interesting in some scenes. They almost had like, it felt like a 50s sci-fi kind of soundtrack in it. I think it was the scene with the boar. Again, I'm not gonna like say things. I don't want to spoiler this part, but yeah. So they did. The music was good. The setting was great. Like it's a desert island. You know, well, not desert island. It's a tropical island in the middle of nowhere. So I mean, that's always fun. Little bit of CGI-ishness, but you know, not enough to make you hate the film by any means. But it is clear that one particular scene is CGI, or at least part of it. Again, no spoilers. Both actors phenomenal. I mean, it's Rachel McAdams, so you know she's good. I don't remember the actor's name. I should have wrote that in my notes so I don't look like an idiot. But anyway, he did very well too. He played the prick quite well. Like, you didn't like him, and she played the homely, like, office girl that's kind of awkward quite well too. Like, you were a little uncomfortable with her at times too. Like, I don't know. It was just, the acting was fantastic. The pacing and the sequencing of individual scenes and whatnot, that's a weird way to put it. So just the pacing is good. It doesn't drag for too long before we get to the main island setting, which is good, but it drags long enough that you get a little bit of a backstory, but you're not like half the movie off the island, half on. You're like mostly on the island for the film, so that's good. The dynamic between the two, like the conflicting power of like, I'm your employer, but you're the one who knows how to do things, it was entertaining. Like I said, a lot of it really boils down to the acting, because it's not a super action-packed film, right? Like, it's a survival kind of movie with some messed up shit happening. So the acting definitely carries the film. It didn't feel too long or anything like that. Oh man, I don't know why I review new movies, because like everyone else is going to review them better than me, like people with professional channels. But I feel the need to talk about it because I saw it and it was fun, and it's Sam Raimi kind of doing what he does, and I hear all these people saying, "Oh, Sam Raimi's back," and yeah, he kind of is. Like, this was really solid. Apparently, he worked on the Doctor Strange sequel or whatever, and he had thought that like Rachel McAdams was underutilized, so he wanted to cast her in this film specifically because of that. And yeah, he nailed it. I think I've said this about multiple different actresses and actors who don't do these kind of movies normally, but I would like to see her in more twisted kind of films like this. And in all honesty, like, what is wrong with my eye? It's almost like someone tried to gouge it out. Reference to the scene. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I can't say anything bad about it. It was just generally enjoyable. One of the better, well, okay. It's the only 2026 film that I've seen so far this year, but if that's anything to go by, and let's just assume the rest will be good like this, that's, you know, getting my hopes up. Wow, what a messy sentence. Basically, 2026 looks good based on the one film that was released in it that I've seen. There. Okay, anyway. Yada, yada, yada. Go see it in the theaters. It's a good film to see in the theaters. Again, anything kind of like nature-y, I say go see in the theaters. Rating. I am going to give this one a 7 or an 8? No. 7.9. 7.911, because, you know, someone's in trouble, right? Anyway, that's my rating. Wow, this is a terrible review. But if you stuck around to the end, I appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, point is, go see the film. Don't listen to my stupid ass and my failed delivery of trying to explain why it was good. If you got anything out of that, that's fantastic. But yeah, just go see it. It's fun. It'll be in theaters for a while. I think it's only been out for like a week or 2 weeks or something, so it probably has a couple weeks left. By the time this airs, I don't know if it will be. I don't know. Just go see it. Rent it if you don't get the theater experience. But if you can catch it in the theater, if it's still out when this comes out. Oh my god. Alright, I'm just going to end it here. Just go see it. It's good. Sam Raimi, keep doing movies like this. Rachel McAdams, keep taking roles like this, and we're gonna have a good time. All right, peace.